Okay, I am in the University of Evansville, and the two flags I'm showing here is, of course, the American flag and the British flag. And I'm talking with Jerry Baum, who is a well-known international watercolorist who is having a show at the University of Evansville in Evansville, Indiana. And Jerry, describe what is the British experience?
Well, the British experience goes back, you might as well say beginning of time. It's like our country. We've experienced so much of a beginning in the British, which really were not called British at one time. They were the English and other names, even during Renaissance, early beginnings of time, the experience of living, the experience of building different kinds of huge, from, I say, downtown London, going back early 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, and before then, stylization, the beginning, the living, the human essence of what life was about was patterned. A lot of countries pattern their formalities of living, their way of music, their way of entertainment, and their way of business, merchandising, the boats, the big ships. J.M.W. Turner was probably one of the greatest. We could sit here and talk about the various artists that have come from England or from that island. I called it the island. But it's a growing up. It's an experience of where we can visualize the importance of England or the Britons or the British people up to this time. Not much has changed as far as style is concerned. I have been there numbers of times, working, not just as a tourist on the bus, get off the bus type thing, but I've experienced the sunsets and sunrises. I've experienced the way people look, the way they dress. Their attitude is the same. 4 o'clock tea time, that's been forever.
And cucumber sandwiches.
And cucumber sandwiches, David. Jump in here anywhere. But really, it's the British have been known for upsetting a number of things worldwide. It's just like when the British were run out of the middle part of the United States all the way back to Canada, and that was during Chief Tecumseh's time back in the early 1800s. They've been blamed for a lot of things. Well, of course, before the Civil War in our country, but there's so many little innuendos and great historic things about England and British people and the way of life in that part of the world is still existing.
But you have captured all of this on canvas.
Yes.
And it's on display here at the University of Evansville.
That's right.
For how long? It started Sunday yesterday, but goes
Yes,
through...
September 9th was on a Sunday, 3 o'clock to 5, and the gallery will be open, I think, daily from noon until 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, that's, now, another thing that happens here, they have classes here. So that's why morning, I think they come over and do some dissertation here, talk about various things according to the university. Harlexton, no, don't forget, that's the other portion of the University of Evansville, is a place where I spent quite a bit of time. We had our master classes in watercolor, and the first one I had there, we had 50 people show up for a watercolor class. David, I'm used to maybe 15 people or 10 people, but 50 people showed up with little palettes and brushes, and I thought, what am I going to do? But we walked the roads. We were there a number of weeks, and so we had to break it down into what's called the halfway house from Harlexton College per se, up the road to the halfway house, up to the another half mile up to the pub. I forget the road that is up the hill. The person in charge of Harlexton at the time, and what do they call them then? Not principals, but oh, it's what happens when you're 178 years old. You forget everything. 58 years of painting, my friend. 58
58 years.
Yeah, this fall is 58 years. This 2012, all the way back to, well, use your math.
Yeah.
That's about when it started.
But the one thing I have to point out is that we cannot take the video and show all of the paintings here because
Well,
of copyright law.
There is, you know, I'm just the artist, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm the guy with the.
With the old Russian sable brush and the,
I still have that brush that did this whole show. That's another story.
yeah, that is
It's
a
fantastic.
story in itself.
You know, American Artist Magazine, you ought to knock on their front door and get them in here. I don't know who's head publisher of that now. We've been in it a couple of times, another Watercolor USA, the California Watercolor Society. I'm going to pitch that. And American Watercolor, we fed them some money along the way. And we've been in 9 major shows in our beginnings in watercolor. Starting locally, we were in the mid-states in Evansville here in 1964, 65, 66, 67. And my good friend Ken McCutcheon, who is now deceased, he was kind of the founder of kicking me hard to keep me going. He saw something going on in my watercolors and drawings, things that I couldn't see. And you've witnessed that yourself in your life. You don't see any farther sometimes where the hand is in front of you, or what's in the clouds or the birds or the trees or whatever. But there's this whole thing of this watercolor show, by the way. I want to stay with programming here. It's recognized right now as one of the largest watercolor shows as a unit right now. This started back in 1968 when I started drawing in England. And we've had a number of John Wesley, Charles Wesley, founder of Methodism. I spent time on City Road drawing in their study, the famous bedroom, what is those things up above the beds, the canopies, the style of the dining rooms, the kind of food that they ate, and even the graveyards and central places where things happened, the great historic things of London. It will always be there. The shadows will always be the same as good Lord keeps the sun up in the nighttime. It's one of the most fascinating elements. You can draw it one day, do a creative painting of it one day, and go back and it changes. The bus system is the 2-story double-decker buses. They've changed. They're modernized now. But Buckingham Palace is there, the Thames River. I started painting and drawing down Weymouth, England. That's right on, right at the foot of the country of England. And a lot happened in Dorchester, England, back Second World War. There were a lot of, Hitler had a fascination to wipe England off the map. Well, Winston Churchill had other thoughts with the cigar and all this kind of thing. Here I am speaking only as an artist. I feel like that so many, Bishop Alton in Indianapolis, he said, you're a mission artist. We've painted in Africa and Israel, we painted in Russia. And my closest watercolor and closest real fervent friends is Anatoly Kamardin. He just found out just a few weeks ago that he passed away. He's probably a little over 60 years old. And Mikhail Pindelev, he is probably one of the finest in Moscow right now as watercolor. And these guys do these huge things. This is how I did this. The Russians were the guys that
They help you.
they said, "Here, Jerry, get off of this 20 by 30 thing and let's do some big stuff."
It's big, and you got some 4x8s here too that
4
just
foot by
knock
8
you
foot.
out.
Yes. And there's a way of doing that without, told my wife when we came just Sunday ago, I said, "Donna, I don't know, I don't know how to do this. We either go mechanical on this thing as a lecture," and I said, "I don't think I'm going to do that, or we can tell the story." And that's what we did.
And it sounded good.
Oh, thank you.
So let's wrap this up and
Yeah.
just make the invitation that to come see your show, The British Experience, here at the University of Evansville at the corner of Lincoln and Weinbach. Very easy to get to.
It used to be a drugstore and a huge grocery store.
And a bookstore for university.
And a bookstore. And see, I've been gone, I guess we've been gone 21 years now, traveling. And this thing of being a mission artist, I chose that because I had the wonderful opportunity to be even known in international. I have a wristwatch the Russians gave me, and 3 months later the thing quit running. I was ashamed to take it to my jeweler. He said, "I wouldn't touch it." He says, "That's another animal," but it's joking lightly. But we've gotten honors and things. I can't believe it coming from Evansville, Indiana on the west side. I can remember 3rd grade, David. They used to tell me you had to have a passport to cross Pigeon Creek to go to the east side of Evansville. And ever since then, I thought, oh my gosh.
Coming from a guy that flunked art in the 8th grade, you've
would
come a
have to
long
bring
way.
that up.
I wanted to.
Can I tell you how that happened?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I was real quick. We had a beautiful art teacher at our Centennial grade school, and she was 4'6". Of course, I'm 6'2" in 8th grade, and she was always looking up. She said, "Jerry Baum," she says, "now, you didn't hand in all your portfolio in the 8th grade." She says, "That's why I couldn't give you a grade." Well, then you would take your report card home.
If you had the nerve.
If you had the nerve. And so I did, and I had C pluses and Bs, and once in a while an A. But Mother got down to music, it was okay at an A. Art is just nothing. She got furious, ran out into our old Studebaker, got in the car, went down to the school, and she got a hold of the principal, and that was, I'm trying to think of his name right now.
Weaver?
No, Ms. Weaver was a teacher there. Anyway, we went to the principal's office, and he's Guy Nicholson.
That's right.
Yes, great man. I spent most of my time doing artwork for teachers, and the school doing little figures for programs, that kind of thing. And I never did get my artwork done upstairs in the art room. I didn't think about that. Well, so then when I was to go ahead and graduate on to high school, they gave me a mark as credit. They didn't give me a letter grade. They just put credit. So that's where that happened.
Okay, well, the show goes to the first week of November.
Yeah.
Come
the ninth,
visit,
I think.
come visit. I don't care where you are in the tri-state area, or if you're coming from Chicago, Cincinnati,
Anywhere,
whatever,
yeah.
come on over. This will be on YouTube, so we're watching our limit here on time. So thank you very much, Jerry Baum. Very, very great career. You're approaching, 100 years old? No, it's 70.
I'll be 178. David, come on.
It's fun being with you, Guy. See you later. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.